What is going on, everyone? It is College Football Talk, and I'm your host, Hunter DeLauder, and today is Conference Championship weekend. We have previews and full breakdown of all the Power 4 games this weekend, since we are recording this a little later than we anticipated. So this is following the AAC title and the Mountain West title that saw Army and Boise State both win. So congrats to them. But we're going to break down all the bigger Power 4 games. Plus, I'm going to give my thoughts on the college football playoff rankings that came out this past weekend. And I'm going to hand out some best bets. So it's going to be a good episode. It's going to be a shorter episode than what we're usually seeing, but it's all right because we're going to dive right into all the biggest action. We're going to start, though, with the college football playoff rankings that dropped on Tuesday. Obviously, I'm going to get to the point. Georgia at 5 moves up after Ohio State slips up. They fall just to 6. Feels a little bit like they lucked out a little bit. I thought they would fall to at least 7 or 8. That's just me. I think being a multiple touchdown favorite at home against a 6-5 team that has no offense, no quarterback, nothing, and they're down 2 of their best playmakers on offense and defense, and you still lose to them, shouldn't be gifted the 6th spot, which would give them a home playoff game. I just think that Tennessee should be ahead of them. Then you have SMU at 8. SMU needs to win this weekend to ensure that, they lock up the first round bye if they win this weekend. I think even with the loss, they should still be in. Alabama needs SMU to win this weekend to hold off Clemson, who's at 17. Because if Clemson gets in, SMU's probably going to get in as well, and Bama's going to be on the outside looking in. Boise State at 10. They just clinched tonight a first round bye because they're going to be ahead of the Big 12 champions, and possibly they could move up to the 3 spot if Clemson wins this weekend, because I just don't see how Clemson's going to jump 8 or 9 spots ahead of Boise State. Then you have that 11 through 14 crowd. And Ward Manuel came out this week and said that pretty much, we don't have any more data points to go off of if you're not playing, so you are locked in place wherever you're at, regardless of where you are position-wise. And that just happens to mean that 11 through 14, you're stuck right there. Since you're not playing, that's where you are going to be. And it's a little ticky-tack because I just feel like there's so much still to play for. And if you're just already kind of going to call it there, what's the point? And you're also – and now if SMU loses and Bam, are you going to take them out, drop them all the way out, and move Bama in is the next question. And then if you do that, then you're just not going to see many coaches and teams wanting to play in conference championships anymore, because you're going to penalize a team that made it to the conference championship game and lost over a team that has 3 losses and didn't play this weekend. That's what you'd be setting. And I think that's just a very, very Pandora's box type effect if you chose to go that route. And I just don't think it's the right way to go. I don't think Bama deserves to be in. If they get in, okay, but they don't deserve to be in just because, they're Alabama, and that's just who they are. SMU deserves to be in regardless, unless they get blown out by Clemson. That's the only outside chance, I think. But if they lose, I think regardless, if win or lose, there should be in. And then, you have your 2 Big 12 teams right there. Winner, that's going to obviously get in. Clemson right there. Already talked about getting in. And then I'm going to show you guys what the bracket would look like if it started today. Let me. Oh no, there it is. That's why. This tab said. All right, so your playoff matchups would be Arizona State at Penn State, Tennessee at Ohio State, Alabama at Notre Dame, and then Indiana at Georgia. First 2 teams out was Miami and Ole Miss. Your top 4 seeds would be Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise State in that order. We already talked about, like I just said, there's a chance if Clemson beats SMU, you're going to see the Broncos move up to the 3rd spot, which would be crazy. But, that just is what it is. I do like how there's no conference, rematches, just no rematches in general, no same conference games. And I do think the committee's going to try to push to keep that as a factor in these playoff matchups, because people don't want to see the same matchups played more than once, or more than once, maybe more than twice. And then nobody wants to see like an all Big Ten matchup or like an SEC matchup. If that's how it is, it is. But like, I think that the committee's going to try to do their best to shuffle things around enough where their rankings, wherever they rank teams, is going to be partly inclined to making sure matchups are a little bit, different. But, these are the last rankings we're going to get before the official ones this Sunday. So a lot's going to change, obviously, as it does each and every week. And so, I do think though, like that you've already establishing that like 11 through 14 range where like, since they're not playing, like we can't move, they're not moving up, they're not moving down. Like you kind of take all the surprise out of the show on Sunday. And, it is what it is right there. But I don't think that was necessary of a comment to say. All right, but we're going to get in right now to all of the conference championship preview now because we got a lot to talk about with these ones. And we're going to start in Atlanta where the SEC championship game is. Number 5, Georgia is taking on number 2, Texas in a rematch of a matchup that was played in Austin just probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So, these two teams are going to square off again. It's going to be a big-time rematch. 2 titans of the sport taking each other on again. Georgia won the first matchup 30-15. Georgia seeking their second title in 3 seasons. In Texas looking to win the SEC in their first year in the conference. Keys in this game is going to be a line of scrimmage type game. Winner of this game is going to partly be who won the line of scrimmage, I think, on both sides of the football. Mainly, I'm looking at the Texas offensive line versus the Georgia defensive line. Because the last time these two teams met, 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss allowed. Texas offensive line did. Georgia's defense and line and pass rush. Got after him. And Kelvin Banks, who got worked in the first game, is questionable now with an ankle injury. He missed last week. We don't know the status yet, other than that he's questionable for this weekend's matchup. And if he can't go, even if he does, like how good is he right now? If they can't protect against guys like the Jalen Walkers, the CJ Allens, Michael Williams of the world, they're Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning, whoever's playing quarterbacks is gonna be like we're just putting on the replay recorded game from a couple weeks ago. Like they're gonna get after him, they're gonna create havoc, and they're gonna shut Texas offenses down. Texas has struggled mightily this year at protecting the quarterback, 61st in the nation in sacks allowed. Georgia's a top 40 unit in pressure rate and sacks this year defensively, so they can get after the quarterback, and they've done it at a pretty consistent amount this year, where Texas has allowed sacks at a pretty alarming rate. So something to keep an eye on there. For Georgia, though, defensively, can you stop the run? You have struggled mightily last 2 weeks stopping the run. 486 yards allowed in the last 2 weeks combined. That's 243 yards that have been average. Quintravian Wisner is going to be rolling in this one. He comes in rolling. I do think he's going to have success in this game, just based off how Georgia has looked in the run game last couple weeks. Last 2 games for Wisner, though, 59 carries, 344 yards, 5.8 yards per carry. He took over the Texas A&M game. He looked like he was averaging 7 to 8 yards a carry every time he touched the ball. And Georgia not only needs to gear up for that, but possibly Arch Manning packages running the football. He had a rushing touchdown against A&M. You know how he is of a dual threat guy with his legs. You've seen how Georgia has struggled last couple weeks, stopping quarterbacks that can run the ball. Haynes King ran for 110 yards against Georgia. Not only did he do that, he threw for over 300, but his legs were a huge reason why Georgia Tech was in that game. And obviously Sark is keeping an eye on that and probably scheming things up just that because of that reason. Even UMass had very good success running the football. So if Georgia can't stop the run, it's going to be tough sledding because you saw what happened when you're able to run the ball really, really effectively against Georgia. You keep them on the sideline and you just eat clock up. And if Texas is able to do that, this is going to be a low-scoring barn burner that it plays right into Texas' favor. And Texas only rushed for 29 yards last time these two teams met. You've got to think that number's going to go way up. But maybe it doesn't. I do, if you're a Georgia fan, you hope that you get Christian Miller back. Christian Miller is one of those anchors in that run defense, and he's been out the last 2 weeks. And obviously it showed because they have been getting gashed up the middle a lot, even on the outsides. Now, partly that's because of just poor lack of discipline and tackling by your second and third level guys. But like up the middle, they've been getting beat some. And if you can get Christian Miller back, that would be huge for this team. And then if you're Carson Beck, can you go and win this game? Assuming that the run game's just not going to be there. We don't know the status yet with Trevor Etienne, if he's going to play or not. He's questionable. But even with Nate Frazier and those freshman running backs, I mean, assuming they can't run the ball very well, like how it's been most of the year, can he go out there and win a ball game and play a clean game, like that Tennessee game, like his Georgia Tech game, play a clean game and put up big times numbers? Because against Texas, he didn't. He had 175 yards and 3 interceptions. That's not going to cut it. You do that again, we can be real. Like they got bailed out because of how well the defense played and set them up short fields where they were able to put points up. They didn't. Carson Beck in this offense, they really only had one big drive where it didn't end up in a turnover and it ended up in points being scored, and that was late in the fourth quarter. Because other than that, there were a couple drives they were driving, then they would turn the football over. You cannot be turning the football over at that high of a rate again. He's played really well the last couple of weeks. Last 3 games, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, 941 yards thrown through the air for Beck. He had a 5-touchdown performance last week against Tennessee, that big-time Tennessee game. He had a bunch of touchdowns. He's got to continue to get the tight ends going. I think that's been a big reason why his success has been so much better the last couple of weeks. The confidence is continuing to growing. He's taking less pressure off himself, and he's getting his playmakers involved, like Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, Ben Urasek, and those tight end guys. And then the receivers got to continue to step up. They have not to this point. The drops have been an issue. They've been an issue all year, and they've come in critical spots too. But they've got to be able to just find a way to step up in a big time way against that good of a pass defense. Can they create separation, create different mismatches where they're going to have success? Because other than that, Texas might be able to shut them down. But I think that's why you're getting your tight ends going. And if you're Beck, don't be trying to force things. If it's not there, check it down to Cash Jones, whoever's in running back or the tight end in the flat, and get it to him. Because you don't have to get the home run every time, every play. It's okay to hit singles. It's very okay to hit singles because singles create base runners, and base runners score runs. That's how it goes. And if you can do that, then possibly you go short, you kind of start bringing guys in, then you can get the home run. So I think you just got to play a turnover-free type of ball game and get your playmakers involved and be smart with the football. As far as predictions goes, I think Georgia's going to win this one, 24-20. I think that you have a lot of those guys that played in this game last year against a different team, Alabama, but they had perfect season going, chance at the playoffs on the line, and they let it slip through their hands. And they were robbed of a playoff spot last year, and I think a lot of them realize that. They do not want to let that happen again. Even though I think they'll make the playoff, they don't want to let this opportunity go to waste. And I think they're going to come out ready, hungry. And if you're Kirby Smart, you're getting all the bulletin board material all you want. You beat this team by 15 in their place a couple weeks ago, and they still are doubting you. They still don't believe that you're going to win. They love Texas. They're just telling them, give me all the Texas they want. And then there you are. You're just sitting there like, oh, they don't believe in us again. We definitely didn't just beat them, but continue to doubt us. Continue to doubt us because we're going to go out there and show you. And I think Georgia's going to go out there ready to roll. I think they've got to be the more physical team. If they can do that, I think they're going to win this one. They're going to win this game. That's how you can beat Texas. You've got to out-physical them. And they did that perfectly last time. They've got to do it again this time. Give me the Dogs, 24-20. And I expect a really, really good game. 2 Titans of the sport right now, and should be a good one in Atlanta. All right, Big Ten title game. Penn State, Oregon, over under 50.5. Oregon is a 3.5-point favorite. I don't know what Vegas is seeing in this line. James Franklin is 1-13 against AP top 5 teams all time. In his last 3 seasons, he's 32-1, though, against teams not named Ohio State and Michigan. So which stat do you lean towards? Well, I would lean towards the AP top 5 teams. This is a different Oregon team. This is an Oregon team that is legit. I don't want to brag, though. I did predict this early on in our Big Ten breakdown as far as who's going to be in the Big Ten title game, and I thought Penn State and Oregon were going to do it. So pat on the back right there for me. If you're Penn State, though, how do you win this game? I think running the football is going to start. I mean, that's got to be the first thing. Oregon has not seen a good set of running backs or just a running back really since Ashton Denty and Boise State almost beat them. Genty went 25 carries, 192 yards, 7.7 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns when they played the Ducks earlier this season. And Oregon has not seen a good running back since really. I mean, the Ohio State running backs have been underwhelming all year, so I really don't think they're anything special. Nick Singleton and Katron Allen have got to have a good day running the football because you've got to be able to work the clock, set up shots, because your pass catchers aren't the greatest in the world. And Oregon has a pretty solid pass defense, so you're going to have to be able to establish some sort of run game. And then vice versa, defensively, your run defense is outstanding, which means that Oregon's probably not going to have the best success running the football. But if you can stop the run, obviously your defensive backs got to hold up in coverage, but like stopping the run is going to allow your defensive ends to go to work on these offensive tackles. I'm talking about Dennis Sutton and Abdul Carter. Like, these boys will get after the quarterback. Abdul Carter's going to be a first-round pick. Sutton's a very, very good, talented defensive end in his own right. And Penn State gets after the quarterback a lot, but they also get to the quarterback really, really fast. They're averaging 2.3 seconds before they get pressure. That's first in the nation. So they're getting home, and they're getting home fast. So Dylan Gabriel's going to have to be ready. He's probably going to have to be ready to get the ball fast too, because, I mean, those stats say within 2 seconds, like no more than 2.5 seconds, like they're getting home, creating some sort of pressure. And then if you're Oregon, stopping Tyler Warren's going to be the first thing, obviously, because he's their main guy. He is their number one catcher. Make Drew Aller beat you with somebody else. If that has to be Julian Fleming, Harrison Wallace, or Amari Evans, so be it. I am not letting Tyler Warren beat me, because that's who I know Drew Aller is going to try to count on to make plays the most. I mean, why not, though? Because, I mean, he's 23rd in receiving yards. He has almost 1,000 yards receiving as a tight end. That's crazy. He's had a great year. He's probably the best tight end in the nation. And so if you're Oregon, you've got to know, like, hey, we got to stop. And then your wide receivers have got to win. Have got to take over, and they've got to, beat Penn State's guys. Penn State likes to play a lot of man-to-man coverage, so which means they're going to put their best on your best. And that beats Jalen Kimber, A.J. Harris, Jalen Reed versus your guys, Tez Johnson, Treshawn Holden, Evan Stewart. Can Oregon's receivers step up and make a difference? I like them in this matchup, but they've got to now go out there and show it. As far as prediction goes, I like Oregon to win this one 30-20. I think Oregon's going to have really a good success in this game. Penn State has struggled at putting points up against high-quality opponents in the past, this year and in the past, and I don't see anything changing this year. I think 30-20, but the score might not indicate. It may look like it was close, but it may not indicate like how maybe big of a difference it was. I just think Oregon's special this year. They've been the one team this year has not really shown any flaws outside of the Wisconsin game, where, I mean, this was like their 5th or 6th game in a row right before a bye. So, that's probably just more of a fluke game, because outside of that, like, they've been the dominant team. All right. Moving on, though. To number 16, Iowa State versus number 15, Arizona State. Arizona State is a -1.5, 50.5 over under. Keys to this game. Can Iowa State stop the wild Scatterboo? Cam Scatterboo is the heart and soul of this Arizona State team. He is the Arizona State's offense. He's 7th in rushing yards per game. He's 11th in rushing touchdowns. And great news for him, Iowa State stinks at stopping the run. They're ranked 96th in the nation stopping the run. They're good at stopping the pass. They're third in the nation in that department, but they can't stop anybody on the ground. And if this has to be a type of game where Cam Scadaboo's got to rush for $150 and 3 tuds, I mean, I like his odds to do that. I'd much rather him do that than trust Sam Levitt to try to beat this really tough defense. And nothing on Sam Levitt. He's having a good year, but like you can't get one dimensional. Here's all this here. Is what it is. But if you can run the ball really effectively, that's going to be able to create those chances down the field throwing the football, because you can be ranked third in the nation stopping the pass, but if you can't stop the run, that's going to allow you're going to start stacking the box up, trying to stop people up the run, and then you're going to allow the deep shot down the field. So if Arizona State can kind of establish a run game going early, I think that plays right into their hands. But if Iowa State can stop the run and force Arizona State to throw the ball more than they want to, I think that plays into Iowa State's hands. Rocco Beck, can he step up in a big way? This is really the one big stat I think that Iowa State can have a good advantage in. Arizona State's a middle of the pack-ish in pass defense, and I think Rocco Beck, who's having a really good year this year, needs to just continue to play his game. Don't do anything out of the ordinary and get the ball out to your playmakers. I think it's going to be the big thing for him. And that be Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins. Like, get the ball out to your guys, let them make plays, and you're going to have a good game. And then I think finally, which team doesn't let the moment get too big for them? Who makes the less mistakes? Who, doesn't crack under pressure, but makes diamonds instead? I think it's going to be the one who wins this game, because I think this is a really close game. I think it's a tight scoring game, 27-20. I like Arizona State to win this one. And it could just be that they either A, had the ball last, or they score just last. I mean, this is going to be a really fun game to watch to kick off the day. Two really, really competitive teams, and I would expect nothing less than some sort of madness, because it's the Big 12, and it's been like that all season long. All right, ACC championship now. Number 17, Clemson versus number 8, SMU. SMU minus 2.5, over under 55.5. Dabo Swinney is 8-1 in ACC title games all time. SMU trying to also win the conference in their first year. For SMU, don't turn the ball over. You're 93rd in the nation and turning the ball over. That is terrible. You cannot do that. Cannot be giving Clemson, really, really good field position, because you are too careless with the football. And Clemson's really good at creating turnovers, 12th in the nation in that category. Stop. My dog's right here. And then number 2 for SMU, getting pressure on Cade Klubnik. SMU is 12th in the nation in getting home for sacks, and Cade Klubnik has not done the best job against really good pass rushes this season at being able to create things. He's just been more of like the pocket collapsed. I'm just going to surrender the play, take the sack, and that's kind of like how it's been from him this year against quality opponents. South Carolina, Georgia, Louisville. It's been like that, especially the 2 SEC games. Like, he has struggled, being able to really do anything. He did a better job against South Carolina, but nothing crazy. And if you're Clemson, attack the weak SMU secondary. Really good pass rush, weak secondary. So going to have to be able to create plays down the field while trying to hold up in pass protection. 85th SMU is in the nation. They are very, very susceptible to giving up big chunk plays through the air. And while you're good at stopping the run, if you can't stop anybody through the air, Cade Klubnik's no slouch at throwing the football down the field and getting it to his guys. Now, he's struggled some again doing it against quality opponents. If he can do it on Saturday, they're going to have a really good chance to win. In this spot a couple years ago, came in against UNC and he rocked it. And I hope that we see that again this weekend, because it's going to make it a very, very entertaining game. And then if you're Clemson, you got to be able to contain Kevin Jennings. Kevin Jennings, quarterback, he loves to use his feet, loves to create off-script plays, run the ball, throw the ball as well. But he's one of the leading rushers for SMU. And so if you're Clemson, you've got to be able to contain him. Do not let him get outside the pocket and make plays on his own, because he will eat you alive doing that. As far as prediction goes, I think this is a high-scoring game, but I think it's a game that Clemson's going to win because I think they have, their season's on the line right now. If they want to go to the playoff, they've got to win this game, and there's no tomorrow. They have to win this game. I think Dabo Swinney, who has done really well in the past in the ACC championship games, you're giving him now the underdog role to go to work with. I think Clemson's in a good spot. On paper, you would say SMU all the way. And, I would also agree with you there. But there's just something about motivation and, just good spots where I just think Clemson's in a good spot right here. And I think they're going to bounce back after a tough loss last week where they controlled most of the game, and they're going to get a big win. All right. Those were our Power 4 previews. Around the country-wise, I'm just going to quickly highlight Army takes care of Tulane 35-7. Bryson Daly rushes for 4 touchdowns, sets an AAC conference championship record in that department. Credit to the Black Knights, all-time victory, and doing it in the first year in the conference too was really awesome. And now they get ready for Navy, so can't wait for that. Boise State takes care of UNLV, clinches their ticket to the college football playoff. Ashton Jeanty rushes for another 200 yards. That's his 6th game where over 200 yards. Back-to-back weekends, he's done that. So really impressive stuff. He is the People's Heisman. It's not a popularity contest. It should go to the right guy, and unfortunately it's not. And we're just gonna have to suck it up and live with that. But that's around the country. Jacksonville State also won, so congrats to the Gamecocks there. All right, it's time for best bets. I need to find my phone because where did I put my phone at? I was going to show people that I am not a faker. Oh, phone's right here. Okay. So if you can see, 1 second. I just want to make sure. Hello? Yes. All right. If you could see, Jacksonville State and Army are on there, and obviously those games are done. Like, you can't just be handing out free winners, that have already happened. Well, guess what? Yeah, I get rid of the virtual background. The old blur. Whoa, there's the bricks. Nice. All right. What's that say? That's right. Army plus 5.5. Jacksonville State plus 4.5. Boom, bada bing. That's how we do it. So we're 2-0 already on the weekend. Here's the remaining bets. Oregon money line. Oregon minus 3.5. Arizona State minus 2.5. Georgia money line and Clemson money line. We're going to continue to roll. Finishing off or building off of a dominant regular season. We're going to have a great weekend in conference championship weekend. And then we're going to use that, go into Army Navy, dominate, and then into the postseason. So make some money. Take those picks. Go to the bank. Trust me, we're going to have a good weekend. And the only thing else I ask for you guys to do, make sure you guys are subscribing to the podcast. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers. The only way we can do that is if you guys hit that subscribe button, like the videos, share them with whoever you know, and if they're not subscribed, get them to subscribe. It's free, and it just helps the show out a lot, which means I can get more content out for you guys to watch. And if you're on Spotify or Amazon Music or wherever else, just listen, follow there on wherever podcast you're getting it. And if you want to hit me up on the socials, at DeLauder Hunter on Twitter, Hunter.DeLauder83 on Instagram. Enjoy conference championship weekend. Enjoy the playoff reveal. We're going to have a video coming out either Sunday or Monday, going over all the recapping of all the games this weekend, and then a quick little highlight on the bracket. And then we'll do a show later this week, next week, going a little more deeper into that, and then going over Army Navy. So make sure you guys stick around for all that. Back next couple days. Enjoy conference championship weekend as much. I know I'm going to enjoy it. Enjoy it yourselves, and we'll be back. Till then, my name's Hunter DeLauder. This is College Football Talk, signing off.